all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality, and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness which creates and animates all things. After years of exploring this awe-inspiring truth on this podcast, I'm super excited to announce that we are now going even deeper down the rabbit hole on the new late-night style consciousness-elevating talk show called Optimistic, which features none other than you, the listeners. Optimistic is taped out of the epic, spaceship-esque 8-bedroom property we call the Mystic Manor that myself and the rest of the Optimistic crew now navigate reality from in Venice Beach, California. And you are invited to come experience a Mystic Manor immersion week with us. During your week-long stay, you'll enjoy unique workshops, chef-prepared meals, one-on-one time coaching and consulting with me, and even co-creating magic with me as a guest on both Optimistic and an episode of the Positive Head podcast. When I started this, my aim with these immersive retreats was to facilitate the ultimate spiritual upgrade and tune-up, so to speak, for our guests while providing them with one of the most memorable experiences of their lives. And I'm happy to say that as of this recording, every guest at the end of their trip so far has told me that they have had a profound and transformational experience at the Mystic Manor and that they definitely want to come back. All that being said, we only have a limited number of spots available between now and next July. And as of this recording, about half of those spots are already filled. So if there's any part of you that is screaming, yes, I want to come, I feel like I need to be there, go now and book a slot with me to discuss how we can put our heads together and make it happen at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. I know for some people there is also that little voice in their head saying, why not? I can't get off work. I can't afford it, and on and on and on. But, really Henry Ford, I think, said it best. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And I'm confident that where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm personally committed to doing everything in my power, including discounts and payment plans, to get you here if it is something that truly feels like a huge yes for you energetically and like you're meant to be here. Once again, the link to book time to discuss with me is calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. That's spelled calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. All one word, of course. And book in some time and look forward to seeing you soon here at the Mystic Manor. All right, all you positive heads, on this week's Soul Share episode, I'm very excited to have Kimberly Meredith here with me on the show. Kimberly is a world-renowned medical medium, trance-channeler, spiritual teacher, psychic surgeon, all the things. She's recently featured in Whole Life Times and LA Yoga magazines. She's experienced multiple near-death experiences through which she has received multiple healing gifts. Hey there, Kimberly. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Such a pleasure to have you here. And I look forward to diving in and talking about all the cool stuff you're doing in the world. But I would like to start with my very predictable question the listeners are used to. I open with the same question every time, and it is this. You're in an elevator. The woman next to you looks over, says, "What's your passion?" You have 10 floors to answer. What do you say?
What's my passion? Well, my passion is that I serve the energy of the omnipresent.
I like that. That's the first time I've gotten that answer. I like that a lot. So, a lot of times people will have an answer. I'm like, I've heard that one before. I haven't heard that one. So we'll dig into what that means here in today's episode. And before we do, why don't we also, the other thing I like to do at the top of these soul shares, Kimberly, is get a bit of your backstory. I mean, we already touched on the fact that you had multiple near-death experiences, and sort of what led up to you having these unique gifts and this unique life that you have manifested for yourself?
Well, I had a very interesting life before this happened. I guess what happened was that I had what's called a near-death experience. Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard of that, yes.
Okay. I hadn't heard of that. And I lived a very
we had Dr. Eben Alexander on a while ago, if you know him, and he has a very famous near-death experience story.
Okay. Yeah, so I haven't heard of that is because I was a lot of different experiences happened to my life before 2015, but never had ever heard of a near-death experience, and I was not deeply involved in this spiritual world that I am now with expos and yogis and all this spirituality stuff that I'm involved now. I was in a different, lifestyle. And in 2013, I was working in the entertainment business as a medical consultant on television shows. And what's sad is I came from a medical background, and I was helping set up TV shots on Grey's Anatomy, fixing, IVs on arms, and working with directors and producers. And I came home from a job, and I got hit on foot by a car.
Wow.
And at that point, my life completely changed. And I wound up a few weeks later in the hospital, and I, went to the other side. And my near-death experience was just, to say the least, a life-changing event. And came home in a wheelchair, and from there on and on and on, the experiences started to unfold that I became a full-blown trance medium channeler, and was told from the doctors at Cedars and many different physical therapists and things that I probably would never walk again, hold my head up more than 5 minutes. It was in a brace. And I can go on about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'd love to hear a little bit about the near-death experience. So I'm assuming you experienced something while you were out from your injury.
So the near-death experience when I was out, when I had gone to the other side, was very intense because I saw many clouds,
mm-hmm.
like light, soft clouds, and I was floating over myself out of my body, and I experienced seeing many faces, and one was my shamanic grandmother. I had experienced, and I didn't really know it was her at first. And then I know it was a lot of basically feeling like orbs around me, but I kept hearing more, you're staying, like that.
Wow.
And it was very fast, and sort of like seeing myself, and then seeing a vision of, I don't know per se if it was Jesus, but sort of a man figure, and then orbs, and then it was very interesting. It's like very bright light coming in my eyes, going out and in, and my eyes were very blinded by light. And then it was very hard because I kept hearing the nurses going at me and pushing on me at the same time. So it was like a duality of being there and here, and so then all of a sudden I woke up, and I was very heavy pushed down on my chest, but the light was very hard on my eyes and very blinding. And when I woke up, when I was on the other side, it was beautiful and very light feeling and amazing. But when I woke up, it was a very hard duality, and very a thump like that hard.
Right.
And then I was covered with, a mess, a hard mess, because what happened was that I had looked over at the blood pressure monitor before I had gone out and saw my blood pressure going down, 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 down. And then it went, like that. And I had gone completely out. And then this had happened. So I was frightened, but I wasn't frightened. And when I woke up, I felt I didn't feel any fear at all. But I knew at that moment, I remember when I woke up, I said, my life is not the same. I knew that moment my life was never not going to be the same, because everything was like, I can't explain it to you really, because I knew my hearing was different and something had happened to my eyes, that my eyes were different. And I remember looking over, because I had a fiance at the time, and he was standing there and he just looked different. My sensory had changed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really strange. And my legs were shaking, and they had me hooked up to all these wires and machines and things. Yeah.
Interesting. It
was really, 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 really bad. And then the next day, I couldn't walk, and my legs wouldn't stop shaking. But now I know I was receiving the Holy Spirit. It was going through my legs. They did not say that. They said that I was having a neurological damage.
Yeah.
And I was going through spasms and, all these things. And I was losing, function to my brain. I was having a hemorrhage to my legs. But I know that I was receiving the Holy Spirit through my body.
Wow.
And then later on, when I got home, because I still couldn't walk, as the story goes, it starts unfolding. I didn't even know that was a near-death experience. I came home later on, my eyes started blinking.
Right. Your eyes started blinking, and that is now a part of sort of your way of communicating with spirit, correct? Through extensive blinking?
That's when I started, after I'd say 6 months of being home and learning to walk and learning. When I came home, though, when my fiance was driving me home in the car, when they released me, I was still in the wheelchair. I couldn't walk. I remember driving home. I didn't feel like it was me anymore, though. I did feel like I wasn't me anymore. And when I was driving home, he kept asking me, what's wrong? And I was like, nothing. I knew then I had not been the same person. And when I got home, I was trying to, act like Kimberly, but it wasn't me anymore. And then as it was going on, my friends were like, are you okay? And I was like, I think so. And then as the months were going on, I kept hearing visions and seeing things, and things were starting to shift. So I was starting to become what God wanted me to be, the omnipresent. So it was starting to unfold that I was going to be a channel. And then one morning I woke up after I had kept hearing, throw the medicine away. I was on a lot of medicine for the concussion, and all this stuff was happening to me. And I kept praying for the pain to leave my body. And the concussion was getting really bad, and I wasn't getting any better. I finally just threw all the medication away, and I started praying to God, please, somehow, please, what is the answer to this, And then one morning, my eyes started blinking.
Wow. And so can you tell us about the blinking, like what the significance of it is?
Yeah. So then once my eyes started blinking, then the full connection of the divine started communicating with me. And then when that started happening, my fiance, the boyfriend, fiance was very, then that's when everything started shifting, because then my voice pronunciation, I don't know if you've ever been around like other mediums like Paul Selick or other
Sure.
channels.
Yep.
We start speaking different. Yeah. So then my voice started sounding different. And then the full channel comes in. So then my blinking started blinking in different codes.
Wow.
They start teaching you what means what. So then my left eye was trying to train me. 3 blinks means this. It's like you become a sign languager with your eyes.
Right.
And then they also taught me how to sign language. So then you could just imagine you're living with someone for 8 years and you're normal, and then you start doing these different things.
Like, why do you keep winking at me?
Yeah, and doing these things, and then he's like, "What's going on? Go back to the way you were."
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah, you bring someone to the hospital, they have this experience, they come home, and then they're a different person.
Yeah, right. What a trip. Did that relationship stand the test of time, or was it like there's too much winking going on? I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, no, he's very wonderful, and he was there till I was getting better, and then I think he wanted me to be the way I was before. And
Sure.
I couldn't do that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And then what happened is an agent friend of mine from he was an ex-football player, amazing athletic agent friend. He worked out at Gold's Gym. He came over and he had an Achilles heel that was out. And he was just consoling me. We were on the couch. And I had started using this cold laser machine my uncle had bought for my head. It was really hurting. And I was using it as I was praying, and my head was getting better. And my doctor over at Cedar says, "It's amazing. Your head is actually, the neck is getting better and the swelling's going down." I said, "Yeah, I'm just doing some prayers." And I said, "Let me try to do some prayers on your Achilles heel." And my friend, he said, "Okay, I'm going to go in for surgery in a couple of days. They have to do a whole cutting and replacing." And I said, "Okay, I'll just do a few things on it." He said, "Okay." So I put my hand on it and I said some prayers. I said some Hebrew prayers and Hail Mary. And I took the cold laser. And cold laser, you have to do like 15, treatments on it to do anything. I just put it there for a second. And then I put my hand, I kind of moved it up a little bit. I said, "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women." And I just went like that. And it went up. And he goes, "Wow, that feels good." I said, "Okay." He's a big football guy, really handsome, nice guy. He's like, "Okay, thank you, Kimberly." I said, "Okay." I was very emotional because I was still kind of, on the couch in the wheelchair still.
Sure.
So I'll call you in a couple of days. So I am. Anyway, calls me in a couple of days, says, "You're not going to believe this." I'm like, "What?" "You're a healer." I go, "What's a healer?" He goes, "Kimberly," he says, "the doctor canceled the surgery." I'm like, "They did?"
Wow.
He says, "Yeah, it's not there anymore. It went completely back in. It's totally healed."
Wow.
I'm like, "You're kidding me." He goes, "No, it is healed. It is healed. You healed it." I'm like, "I did?"
Wow.
He's like, "Yeah. I'm sending all my friends from Gold's Gym."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Oh." And so he goes, "Yeah." And so anyway, this is how it all started. They started coming to my house. It was like 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And they just were coming over. I got a Reiki table, put it in the living room. I started just laying my hands. I wasn't scanning yet and finding things in bodies. And I was just putting my little cold laser on them, putting my hands on them, and doing the healing. Well, the boyfriend that lived here, we were going to get married. He says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just putting my hands on people, doing a little healing." "No, this is not going to work out.
Oh.
This is not my style."
Yeah.
And then so he's like, this is going to go or I'm going to go.
Right. Well, I hope you healed him on the way out.
So anyway, shortly after that, I got discovered by a woman in Maryland, and I was really low on money and wasn't doing quite well because I was disabled still in the wheelchair and just healing guys for $25 from Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
And she said, "I hear you're a medical intuitive." And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, let me fly you out to Maryland and let's put you, in some workshops and I'll pay your rent for 2 months."
Oh, wow.
and it started after that. There was no stopping the Holy Spirit.
Right. Yeah, you're now sharing the stage with, some of the biggest names in sort of the transformational healing space. You're going to be at the Conscious Life Expo, correct? Coming up
Yeah, I'm a keynote speaker for my 4th year at the Conscious Life Expo. I'll be, it's going to be really cool this year. I'm doing the George Norrie panel. I'm doing the Optimal Health panel with David Wolf. And I'm going to be doing, I'm doing a Mother Mary Divine Prayer ceremony on Saturday at 10 o'clock, where I help awaken people's gifts and bring in the feminine energy for a lot of people right now that are struggling with the masculine energy to try to survive in a third dimensional world, and bring more of the feminine, loving energy into our body, where we don't have to feel like we're fighting all the time to be heard. And a lot of people that I scan and find breast cancer and immune suppressed conditions in them are it's always on the left side of the body first, which is the feminine side of the body. And I find a lot of people having heart attacks and breast cancer starts on the left side. And I feel that we're really sacrificing our feminine side of our body. I don't know if you believe that too.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. There's a lot of, I say it all the time, that there's a lot of, of course, we all have masculine and feminine, and I think a lot of success comes from a healthy balance of that. And there's a lot of imbalance out there. I mean, there's so many women who I feel have felt like they have to sort of overcompensate with more masculine to survive in this, this world, and it's not necessarily optimal for who their greatest and grandest self is, meant to become.
You are so right. And so many women come to me and they're like, Kimberly, I'm tired of having to be so masculine. I want to leave my job. My job is a job where I have to be so masculine all the time. And there's nothing wrong. I love men that are masculine and feminine, men that have both balances to them. And I have men that want to bring down a little bit of the masculine and be a little more feminine. And I have women that just are tired. They're leaving their jobs and just, I have women that run companies. They're quitting, and they're just going to do more things that bring out the more feminine in them. And I say, well, you can still keep those jobs, but I can help teach you to balance it out. So anyway, this class is going to help with that.
It's interesting.
And then I have a class called.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say it's interesting that you bring that up, because I find myself keenly aware of when I interact with women who have a lot of feminine energy, because it's actually fairly rare. And I was literally 5 minutes ago observing that with you, just talking to you. I'm like, and of course we're just hearing each other's voice. And to me, that's almost the most telling sort of indicator a lot of times. And I'm like, I literally was like, there's a lot of she has a lot of feminine energy, but not even knowing we're going to bring this up. And then observing that, like, that feels somewhat unique, so it's funny that this is coming up like right now.
Yeah, I'm very connected. I don't know if that's good or not, but I'm very connected to Mother Mary, and I love bringing that energy into the world. And there's a lot of men actually that like to come to you think there'd be a lot of women in my workshop, but I have a lot of men in the Mother Mary workshop.
That's funny. So are you familiar with Destiny cards at all?
Yes.
Yeah. So my supposed, I'm a King of Hearts, and my greatest match is a Queen of Hearts, which is it the Mother? Hold on. It's a Mother Mary card or the Mary Magdalene. I can't remember which one it is, actually. It might be Mary Magdalene now that I think about it. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's Mary Magdalene.
Yes. Maybe it is. So anyway. Okay. Yeah. I just thought I'd point that out.
And then my Sunday class is called All You Need. This is another feminine class. So it's called All You Need Is Love. And this class is really cool because it's a tribute to the Beatles.
Oh, fun!
And I'm bringing in my really good friend. It's Ryan McMillan from Matchbox 20.
Fun!
And he's going to be playing with my friend Steve Dempsey. They're going to be playing Here Comes the Sun, And All We Need Is Love, of course. And we're going to be playing Let It Be. And I'm kind of like a Tyler Henry, where I go in the audience and I find people, everything that's going on with their body. And I kind of, instead of scribbling it out, I blink what's wrong with people. And then I bring them up on the stage and I do like an interactive. It's really fun. I scan their bodies. I tell them what's going on stage. I sit them in chairs. And then I have people from the audience come up and help too, ignite their hands with healing, and then they can help heal the people with me. So it's really fun.
Wow.
And then I'm going to have some stuff on stage too. That's like, I'll bring like a bath ball that I feel is good to put in your bath to clean the water. So instead of taking a bath with tap water, I can tell you on air right now, if it's okay, there's a bath ball out there called Rain Shower. It's a company called Rain Shower, and they have a bath ball on Amazon. And if you put it in your bath, it takes all the bleach out and bad chemicals out of your bath.
Interesting.
And that will help women not get UTIs and other kind of bad MRSA and aspergillus. And that's just such a great find for people. So I'm bringing those to the expo, and I'm bringing all kinds of my other really fun goodies that I feel that are really important so we don't get sick.
Right.
So anyway, that's part of it. And then questions and answers through the spirit guides.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I'm planning to attend, it's here in LA, so I'm planning to at least come by for a day. So, I'll come find you and say hi. And
good.
Yeah, it's a great, it looks like a lot of great people this year. So,
yeah, Russell Brand is going to be there doing his recovery program, and James Redfield, and there's just a lot of great people going to be there. Yeah, it'll be really nice.
Yeah, I think James Redfield actually is scheduled to be on the show, if I recall. My Erica helps me to book everything, but I need to go look. But I think he's going to be on too. That's like the first, he wrote, the Celestine Prophecy, for those of you who don't know, and that was like the first spiritual centric book I ever read, like in the mid 90s.
Yeah, I have some news too. I just found out 2 days ago that I'm going to have my first published book come out.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Next year, but it is picked up by St. Martin's Macmillan Essentials.
Wow. How cool.
Yeah,
Congrats.
so I'm happy about that. Yeah. they did Paul Selleck's book and some other really big, nice books. So I'm really happy that's, because I finished it about 6 months ago, and I channeled it all. I channeled the whole book.
Wow.
So yeah. And when you made me think about that, because I love his book, and I love books, to have something special.
Yeah, definitely
so I hope
that
something
book.
Good that people will like.
I'm sure exactly who's supposed to find it and resonate with it will, as you know, and whether that's just you and your best friend, or whether it's a billion people, it will be what it should.
Exactly.
And before we continue on, I'd like to take a quick moment to announce to you guys that we have a new sponsor of the Positive Head podcast, Mack Weldon. As you guys know, I've been very selective about sponsors over the years, only working with a select few that I truly align with. So when Mack Weldon first reached out to me about sponsoring Positive Head, and I saw that they were claiming to make intelligently designed men's basics such as underwear, socks, t-shirts, sweatpants, made from premium fabrics that are also super comfy, I was intrigued. The reason being is because the running joke in my family my whole life has been that you will never see me in anything that isn't super cozy, which, if you ask my mom, has led to many, many embarrassing fancy restaurant dinners with me wearing old sweatpants. So I was intrigued enough that I ordered 4 items to try them out. And when I received them, I knew I had instantly found a new favorite go-to for my basics. My mom is going to be ecstatic to hear their claim that their Ace sweatpants are a modern upgrade for your favorite sweatpants. It's a totally legitimate claim. They are definitely way more comfy and stylish than my old ones, and I've never looked better at dinner. I intend personally to order them in every color, and of course, since they are super high quality, they do cost a little more than your Walmart standard basics. However, luckily for all UP heads, they are giving all Positive Head listeners 20% 20% off when you go to macweldon.com and use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word. That's spelled MACKWELDON.com. I highly recommend trying them out or ordering them for your partner or spouse. You have my 111% guarantee that your mother or mother-in-law will thank you profusely at the next family dinner. Let's talk a little bit about okay, so you healed this person. That's actually with the football player you're talking about. And that's actually transferred into you doing like psychic surgery kind of work?
Exactly. That's what I do. Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So what happens is that after I do the scanning on people, so if somebody comes into the office or I'm at an expo or I do online, which I do a lot of online too, Skyping, I'm directed to then go into the body through my eye blinking to the direction of where the area is. And when the person, such as you or whoever is having a healing with me, goes out of a third dimensional frequency, which is the frequency of where we're at right now in the world, and goes into a higher dimensional frequency, which is pretty easy. I help people go into that. Then I can go into the body and dissolve a tumor or a node, which I do that often. You can look at all my YouTube videos. Nodes dissolve off people really fast, which are very hard to get off people. Those are lymph nodes around the throat, which when you have like a lymph node, I teach this at my classes, that can go into cancer. That can make your immune system really low. Yeah. Thyroid tumors. Those things are a cinch for me to get off people. But you have to be willing to go in and be a believer that you're in a higher frequency. A lot like Joe Dispenza talks about. Yeah. Taking your DNA, moving it, saying, this is not my body. This is a new body. I am a new Kimberly. Yeah. You know, so this is what I take people into, the higher Harry Potter frequency. Once you believe you're in that, you are healed. You are a miraculous being. You are in the miraculous energy. So once you're in that thought process, anything can happen. Then I'm able to go into you. Then I can move it out. And then so through this process, if you watch it on videos, you'll see people doing like a Kundalini breath with me. They'll go like that. Yep. And then I go in and I remove it out. But I don't I don't like cut you. I don't hurt you. It's so light. It's so beautiful. And so some people like to chant a prayer, or they'll like to say Om, or they'll say I am healed, or they'll say I am love, I am light. Everybody has a different thing. So I'll work with like David Mitten Kamal. They're famous singers. Or I'll work with the lady down the street, and maybe she'll like to say Hail Mary, full of grace. Or I'll work with monks. They'll be like oming. But you have to chant something for it to work, because we want to do, the more you do, like for me, I listen to 6 hours of music per day. The more we're putting a vibration through our body, it raises our frequency. And therefore, it raises the energy in our body, and it moves the negative energy out of our body. And so that's my technique that I do to release the negative. I call any sickness that gets in us a negative frequency out. Yeah. So I don't fear cancer or any kind of immune sickness or tumors. I've released up to 16 tumors out of people's bodies. Wow. Yeah, wow. I work with a lot of 9/11 people. So I have a lot of cancer, immune suppressed. I don't call it cancer, immune suppressed. I have 85 to 90% immune suppressed clients that come to me. Wow. So yeah, that's mostly the clients. Yeah. Have you? Do you have some? Maybe a couple fun stories. I mean, you did share the football player. A couple of fun stories to share of healings. my fun stories are well. I don't know about their fun stories, because all of them are miraculous stories, because they're fun because they're miraculous. Right. Healed. Right. Yeah. And also, the people are heroic. How do you say heroic? I can't say the word anymore. Heroic, yeah. Because it's this channel in me. They changed my voice. They're yeah, I know. They're fighters. They're warriors. I mean, they don't stop. You know, it's amazing because they come in from New York. They come from Seattle. I found a lump on a woman's breast through a Skype session. She wanted me to do something that was, she came on and she had something else that, she had like a little thing on her eye, and I go through her body and I find that she's missing a crown in her tooth. This is the guide. They go in, they're very nosy. I'll say, oh, your tooth, and then your knee, and then that. And I said, oh, they're blinking on your breast. There's nothing wrong with my breast. Yes, there is. I'm like, what do you mean? There's something on your breast. Sure enough, she has third stage breast cancer. She calls me up. She says, I have third stage breast cancer. Kimberly, you found it. I'm like, oh, they want to give me chemo. They want me to do radiation. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? I want to come out to you first. She gets on a plane. She comes all the way from Seattle. She gets into my office. The lump is like the size of it's probably bigger than an apricot.
Wow.
So I put my hands on it. We start praying. She says to me, I'll do anything you want. I'll drink gasoline. I have 2 kids. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
So I go in. We start praying. I get chills through my body. My lips are feeling like the numbness they get. She is so in. She is so in. You can't get more in than her.
Yeah.
She starts praying Ave Maria, Hail Mary. The thing just starts going, shoo. It goes down to like a pea.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. It's so miraculous, so freaking amazing. It's just where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So ascension. Then I give her a whole treatment plan. I change everything she's doing. I take her off plastic bottles, Fiji water first. I'm like, you are not drinking this.
Yeah.
I put her on, Mountain Valley Spring water. I get her on vitamin D. I get her on the right vitamins. I put her on a very good diet. I throw the fish in the trash. Just everything, change everything. And then she goes back to Seattle. She calls me up. She says, they did an ultrasound. It totally shrunk down. They're going to move around her treatment plans now. And they did the biopsy. The biopsy is showing that the cancer has left.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
Yeah, totally 100% shifted. These are the kind of stories that go on and on and on. The other man in New York City, the 9/11, his tumors, he had 16 tumors.
Wow.
They told him he was completely going to die. One of them I had gone in and did psychic surgery on. I was totally worried because when I went in, one of them kind of it bursted. So then he had to go into the hospital, but the doctor said, "Thank God she did that, so we got it out because you were going to die." And now he has to do chemo. I am not against chemo. Actually, people are worried about chemo. But chemo, there's certain kind of immunotherapies in chemo, that doesn't always hurt you. It's that your diet, the diet that you're on, can hurt you.
Right.
So sometimes we have to do, it's the diet that we're doing, why we're doing it, is what is hurting us.
Gotcha.
Because then we can get infectious diseases, and we're not on the right. Yeah, we're not on the right nutritional plans. And then we're doing chemotherapy, and then we're going into steam rooms, and we're drinking the wrong kind of water. We're eating the wrong kind of food. We're eating too much sugar. So I could go on and on. So this is why the workshop on Sunday, the All We Need Is Love workshop, is so important for people to have immune suppressed conditions.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So, yeah, those are fascinating stories. Are you able? Is it always?
But the road to go back really quick about the man with the tumors.
Oh yeah, sure.
He is standing and living, and the cancer is gone.
Wow.
So through his doctor, who's a prominent doctor in LA, and me, he is rocking. He is living and going, and this is an amazing story. I'm getting chills right now.
Wow.
That he is with the there's so many probiotics out there right now. I know the leading probiotic and vitamins. So I'm like, it's not just that I do the scanning and the healing, but I also do the nutritional plans too.
Gotcha.
And through the love and the love and his support. Yeah.
Wow.
He's a 6'1", 280-pound man that is just I can't even tell you. It's just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Police officer that went in 9/11 and got people out of there and sacrificed his life and his lungs.
Yeah.
And got all of those tumors in his body.
Wow. So, a lot of these, it sounds like, are pretty serious issues. In my case, like just taking me personally, I have like a few things that are annoyances. I hopefully they're not super serious. I don't think so, based off of the symptoms. But are you able to help people with those sorts of things as well? Like if you were to scan me and see what those are and kind of give insight?
Yes, I do get people in for just chakra balancing, and I get people in for facials. I mean, I have cool laser machines that people come in for. They want their. I do really good with people that want sciatica and they want their rotator cuff fixed. I have cool laser machines, and people want spiritual counseling, and I do readings and mediumship, all kinds of stuff like that. And I do just. People that just want a regular checkups with me, they don't want to go to a doctor and they want a scan.
Yeah.
They just come in. We want you to scan us, make sure I don't have anything on me.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You don't have to just come to me if you think you're dying.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was wondering. So if I have, and I mentioned this before we started recording too, like minor things that are more annoyances than anything. What would you be open to like exploring those and telling me what your feedback is? Like, okay. Should I tell you what they are? Or
excuse me. Well, I'm kind of scanning you right now, and you kind of told me a little bit before we started the show.
Yep.
If you want to say it on air, it's fine with me. Whatever you want to do.
Well, yeah. Since I told you, I might as well. Like, and I actually talked about this a long time ago on the show. So, two annoyances in my life is like in the last year or so, especially, I've been getting like red patchiness, like across my nose or forehead. Like I think it's eczema. And then the other thing is frequent urination, like having to pee more than is normal, I suppose. And it's an annoyance more than anything. And I think it's not like fully emptying your bladder. And I know that's like a very common thing with guys, or can be. Once again, I don't think either of them are super serious, but they're also, man, I would be so excited if they both went away.
Yeah. Are you drinking? Like what kind of water do you drink?
Yeah, I drink really good water, actually. I drink live water that comes out of I don't know. Are you familiar with live? Because you're in the LA area. Are you familiar with live water? They deliver it in like sacred geometry containers, and it's like comes from Oregon, and it's like you test it, and it's like through the charts, like alkalinity and mineralization and all that. Super, super good water.
And how much are you drinking during the day?
Probably, realistically, a full day, maybe. I would say a full day, probably 16 ounces. Not as much as I should.
Yeah. And have you ever had any kidney stones or anything?
Nope.
Okay. You're not having any pain on your back of your back or hips area?
Nope.
Yeah, and you're urinating at night a lot or all during the day?
During the day, it's just like, going to the bathroom, and sometimes it's normal, and then other times it's kind of like, it's like, I feel like I need to go, and then it's like not that much. It feels like I'm not fully emptying my bladder or something.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a urinalysis and see if you have an infection.
Mm-hmm. I
That could
did that
happen.
years ago, and it was like, nothing really came from it that was helpful.
Yeah, to be honest, there is something that you could get online on Amazon called U-Track, and that's a very good, it's very scientific thing to take, and it could just flush your bladder out. I don't really like juices. I'm not into drinking fruit juices. It's too high in sugar. But U-Track might be something really good for you. Do you drink alcohol?
No, not. I mean, very, very rarely.
I mean, I don't really think you need to go get your PSA taken, but just from like scanning you right now, I kept getting a negative blink on your left kidney. So I think you really should just do a jar of the U-Track. It's called U-Track Complete.
Okay.
And that could really be really good for you. And if you take a whole jar of that, you take like a couple scoops in a tall glass of 8-ounce glass water, the water you're drinking every day. And then after you do that whole jar, let me know how you are. And if you're still having the same symptoms, then you should come in to see me, because I really feel you just need to flush out if you have you could have some little bugs in there or something going on that's not being picked up by a UA. If you haven't had a UA recently, because not to empty your full bladder out and have that, there's definitely something going in there, like some crystals or something happening. I was in nursing for a long time too. So the symptoms of that is something is not being fully emptying. So
Gotcha.
I definitely feel the other thing you could do too is drink. It's like you drink like 1.5 liters of water, and you put slices of cucumbers in it. And the slices of, not drinking cucumber juice, but slices of cucumbers really is awesome for the bladder, and it takes inflammation. And then you just it helps release lots of inflammation out of the body. And that's a good thing to do with anyone that has immune suppressed conditions and skin issues. So skin issues is another thing that gives me a tip that you might have some inflammation going on. And do you eat fish at all?
I do, although lately quite a bit less. I used to eat it pretty regularly. In the last 6 months, not as frequently.
Good. Because I'm a medical intuitive medium, I was tested a lot on fish. And I was at Noetic Ions Institute, SciTech Institute, and I was, locked in a Faraday cage, and I went over, different things. And fish is not really healthy anymore. It has a lot of iodine and mercury. It's poisonous. I don't care where it's from. And so most of my clients, I see hundreds of clients with allergies and issues and thyroid problems. And once you get off fish, and we've been testing people up to 5 years, they don't have any allergies, thyroid issues leave, hormonal issues are gone. I haven't had a piece of fish in 5 years.
Wow.
And I don't have any issues anymore with any of that stuff.
Interesting.
I love fish, by the way. I love it.
I do too. Sushi's amazing.
I can't have it anymore right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you could just do a couple little, test about it, and like take a little break from the fish, and like try some cucumbers in your water, and maybe try the U-Track.
Okay.
That's my suggestion right now.
Okay.
If you don't want to go get the UA again, I mean, you could just try that for a little bit and see how it works out.
Okay. I will do it. I'll give it a whirl, and I'll report back to you.
Yeah, I like the cucumber in the water, and a lot of my ladies and men that are doing the cucumber water, they've been feeling really good. So, you don't need to juice it though. Got it.
Just slice it up and put it in.
Yeah. Do you eat bananas a lot, or?
Some, but not excessively.
I would. Yeah, good. I would cut the bananas out too. Everybody listening is going to be like, we like bananas. Bananas are not friendly. So you have to be careful with bananas.
Really? Yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that bananas aren't necessarily that good.
You're cracking me up.
I guess
You're like, really?
I guess I need to suppress the inner monkey.
Yeah.
Got it.
Bananas, it's a high in sugar. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bananas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So where do we go from here? Let's see. We have a little bit of time still left. We've gotten
Okay.
bananas. We're all the bananas are out of the picture. So why don't
Yeah.
you know what would be interesting to you've actually, and I think you just touched on it. You've been studied and had double-blind studies in Institute of Noetic Sciences and that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about that. I think that's pretty interesting where you take this, which can be considered pretty out there, right? And you tie it into
Yeah.
actually some double-blind studies. What have the results of those been?
Yeah, I know. I hear most people don't want to go get double blind studies. So I guess I didn't know that when I got asked to do it. Like now
Yeah.
after the fact, they're like, "Wow, you're pretty brave to go get studied." I'm like, "Really?" So it's
Yeah.
funny when I was asked everything that I'm asked to do, my eyes will say yes or no. So my eyes were like, "Yes, yes, go, go, go." So
Yeah.
I they told me to go, so I went. It was funny when I was at Ions because I kept getting, it's a pretty big place, Petaluma, and I kept getting lost, so they had
Mm-hmm.
to take me their little go-kart.
Uh-huh.
And it was a very interesting study because there was a lot of people that I had to do the study on. There was like probably over 25, 30 people we did studies on, different clients coming in and out. So what it is a person will come in and they have us do, a reading on them or a scan on them, or they do different things, and then it's like a before and after. And so the IONS one was, I can't really talk about exactly what we did, but the SciTech one, I can. The IONS
Uh-huh.
one is being released, all the paperwork on that. But that was pretty phenomenal, the
Is
IONS
that
one,
Institute
of
of
what
Noetic
they found.
Sciences?
Yeah, that one, it was pretty phenomenal what they found with me.
And you
The
just haven't
SciTech
released
one,
it hasn't been released yet, the results.
well, they know the results. Yeah, the paperwork.
But you
They
haven't it hasn't
found,
been put out to the world.
no, but they found that I had dissolved multiple tumors off of people's bodies.
Wow.
And then well, I do that anyway in my office, and there's videos of that and stuff, but they found it. And then on the SciTech one, I did, they
Uh-huh.
have before and after, and that's been released. They have before and after thermographies of people going into, that's how I got on the front cover of the Life Connection magazine, before and after people coming into the thermography machine showing lumps of cancer and lumps of various hot spots of the, before I met the person, of showing where things are. And then I would go in and scan the person. They would write down where I knew where the stuff was at, where they already had seen it. And then I go and lay my hands on the person and dissolve it. Then they go back in the thermography machine and they go to look for it, and it's gone.
Wow.
So that's like a double blind study. That is super cool. Yeah, that's really cool. And
That's
then with Norm
amazing.
Shealy, yeah, it's really cool. And then with Norm Shealy, I spent weeks with him up in Missouri, and he's a very famous neurosurgeon. He's discovered Carolyn, I used to Carolyn Meese,
Uh-huh.
who I
Oh
really
yeah.
love. She's a
Yeah,
medical
she's
intuitive.
great.
And he's writing the forward. He wrote the forward to my book that's coming out. And I did several clients with him. And he would be very, very intense, where I would scan a person and tell every single thing in their body. This person's gallbladder is missing. This person's appendix is gone. This person's got thyroid issue. This has cancer in the brain. This, over and over, over and over, over and over. He was the hardest one. And he would say, okay, now what? And I'd say, well, there's a thyroid, there's a lump, here's a lymph node, here's this, that. And he'd say, well, show me. And then he'd come over and he'd touch it, and he'd say, okay, like that. He was so cute. And then there would be, very, very large, goiter. I don't know if you know what a goiter is. They're very big. And then I'd say, and then I would put my hand on it, and I would try to bring it down with my energy. And then he would do testing on my brain. He'd hook me up to EEGs through a wall. I'd put my hand, up against the wall. The person would be on the other side, and they'd have an EEG on them. And then I would put my hand and focus through the wall to try to heal them. And then he would have a machine seeing if I could actually do that, which is called scalar energy that Tesla was proving that a human being could do. And he's very, very hard to ever, he tested hundreds of healers. Yeah. And so he's very, he's not an easy one. Yeah.
Right.
So
not an easy win.
This went on for weeks. So basically I broke it out.
Wow.
Yeah. So the guides that come through me, they're serious.
Yeah. Apparently. So when you channel, when you channel, is it your guides? Is it a particular entity? Is it your higher self? Like who are you channeling?
Jimmy Church asked me that. It's funny because it is it's the omnipresent, and it's the higher civilizations all together. They all are coming in and they mean business.
Wow.
And they want to teach people how to do this too. So this is really cool.
Wow.
I can't teach people how to blink, but I can teach people, they're saying they can teach people how to move into the ascension, and to be awakened. But it's not Reiki. It's a new thing. It's a new thing. It's a cool thing, and they want people to learn to do it. It's not just for Kimberly. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, healing can be fun.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of fun doing it.
I do, and I like serving. I like serving and helping people. So that's why I'm here. I guess we all have choices when we go to the other side. We either, I guess I didn't have a choice. They told me I had to come back, but I feel like I have, I feel good that I'm serving. So.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, I feel good that you're serving too.
Thank you. Well, I feel good that you're serving.
I think Gandhi had it right when he said, if you want to find yourself, lose yourself in the service of others. And I always add to that. Yeah. And the reason I think that holds true, I believe that holds true, is because there are no others. That's why service is so important, because you're always serving an extension of self. And that's how we give to ourselves, by, giving to these, quote unquote others that really are us in disguise, right? So that's my theory.
That's nice.
That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So one of the things as we kind of wind down here, I mean, you've shared a lot of miraculous stories, so I'll let you off the hook if you don't have something good that comes to mind. But I always like to hear like a synchronicity story or a serendipity story or something that's like, positive paranormal. And like I said, I'll let you off the hook. You've shared a bunch of stories already, but if you have something that comes up that you think would be fun to share, we'd love to hear it.
Like a synchronicity
story? Yeah, synchronicity or positive paranormal story. I don't know if you've ever had anything super like, all of a sudden I woke up and there's, Mother Mary standing at the end of my bed or whatever,
Oh God, I've had so many stories. I've had so many encounters with Mother Mary and Jesus, and when I first started to get my gifts happening to me, I would wake up all the time with my hands in the sign of the Trinity, the triangle.
Oh, wow. Oh, really?
And I'm half Jewish, and my mom was born Italian Catholic, and my father Jewish. And when I
Interesting.
first started becoming, well, Jesus was Jewish. So it was very interesting. And I was brought up, where I would go walk to church when I was little, but we'd go to temple on Friday. Well, when I first started becoming a medium, it was not like overnight. It was happening within 6 months, to a year. And I would wear the Jewish star around my neck, and I would wear a cross. This is very interesting. And I wore both. And now I wear, after I healed this woman of a very serious intestinal tract disease, she bought me a very gorgeous 18-karat gold Mary and Jesus necklace I wear around my neck now, just a necklace with both. But before I would wear the star and the cross.
Gotcha.
One night I woke up with my hand in the sign of the triangle, and I was saying, "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou." And I was saying that out loud, and I woke up and my cross was off my neck. And this is before I started really going out in public in front of hundreds of people. Because when I go to New York, sometimes I do it in front of like 500 people and more.
Wow.
It was before I was starting to be really, known more. I got up and my cross was off my neck. And when I went, I was like, what is going on? And I walked downstairs and the cross was laying in front of a picture of me and my dad. And I was like, what? And my dad was very close to me when I was a little girl. And he was the only one, and my grandma, that was very kind to me. My mom was very abusive to me. She was an alcoholic. She would slap my face when I was little and always tell me to stop blinking. When I was a little girl, I was connected to the omnipresent. I was born with blinking eyes.
Wow.
And I was connected to God when I was little. And I was called a starseed kid. And I would always lay my hands on animals and I would heal them. And my grandma was always encouraging me to feel the paranormal. And I would see things. I'd say, "Grandma, I see things." And she was like, "It's okay to have the blinking." And my mom would slap me and say, "Stop blinking. Stop blinking." So at 7 years old, I stopped myself from blinking.
Wow.
So what's interesting, you asked me that, is that I felt like God was saying it's okay to blink when the cross was in front of my dad and my grandma.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. And so it was on your neck when you went to sleep, and then it was removed.
And then it was downstairs in front of my grandma. It's a picture of me and my dad, but my grandmother, she became a photographer when she retired. And I have lots of pictures of me around the age I stopped blinking when my grandma became a photographer around my home right now, of me with orbs around me as a 7-year-old little girl. And the picture is with me and my dad in a car the year I stopped blinking. And the cross is in front of that when it was downstairs. Yeah, I'm getting chills right now.
Wow.
So my eyes started, so in the book that's coming out, there's a chapter called The Reappearance of the Blinking Eyes.
Wow.
In my book, I know, I feel like crying, because my eyes were always meant to blink and be with God. But my mom wasn't a bad person. She just had alcohol. And when she had alcohol, she would turn into another person. My mom was beautiful. It's just the alcohol would, and she eventually died young of alcoholism.
Wow.
And it wasn't to be bad. It was just that it would just turn her into somebody else. Yeah. But that is very paranormal. That's paranormal. For my necklace to come off me and then downstairs in front of them. I'm sorry. That is not okay.
That qualifies. You passed the test. You have passed, Kimberly. You're just weird enough to be on the Positive Head podcast.
Yeah. That was really... that hasn't happened since. Okay.
Yeah, very cool. Well, this has been awesome. You are such a joy and so fun to chat with. I do have one last question. Oh, well, before I ask you the last question, for people who want to connect with you or follow your work or maybe get, a reading done or whatever, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Okay. They can connect with me on my website called thehealingtrilogy.com, thehealingtrilogy.com.
Cool. All right. And so with that being said, my final question for you is this. In 60 seconds or less, what is the meaning of life according to Kimberly Meredith?
The meaning of life is to go out there and help somebody, serve somebody, do something for somebody every day, give somebody a helping hand. And every day I get up and that's what I do. And I feel that's the best thing we can do for somebody is just smile, just anything you can do for somebody. There's so many people out there that are disabled. There's so many people out there, and every day could be your last day here on earth. So every day is our best day, and be the best, do the best you can do the best and forget the rest.
Right.
So
right.
That's all I can say is just do your best and forget the rest, and don't take it all so serious, and know that the energy of the omnipresent is with you and loves you so, so much. And I'm here for you, and if you need me, so this is a very important message.
I love that. Yeah, I love the don't take it so seriously. I mean, you embody that so well, that sort of childlike, the one Bible verse that I will quote is, lest you become like a child, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven. And you embody that so well. You have that childlike wonder. And I truly believe that's the path to, magic and Harry Potter land, right? As you stated. So I appreciate you for anchoring that into this world and all that you do. This has been absolutely fascinating, Kimberly. I look forward to crossing paths with you at the Conscious Life Expo.
Oh, yes. I look forward to seeing you there. I can't wait to see you. And I can't wait to see you visit me.
Yes,
definitely.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. With that being said, everyone, thanks you guys for tuning in. As always, love you so, so much. Till next time, journey well. And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat-style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talk with Brandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.